Hare Krishna. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam once again, after a little bit of a gap of, I think, a couple of months. We were doing a marathon run of the Sri Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu for multiple reasons. One of them was to make sure that the Bhakti Shastri students make quicker progress, and I'm able to finish it and conduct the test and all that before the India Yatra, which I'll be leaving for in September. So I wanted to make sure students had enough time to prepare and homeworks and do the test and wrap it all up before that. So by Krishna's arrangement, all that was done. And today was, there was supposed to be a different class by a different visiting devotee to Portland. But that got cancelled for various reasons. So we are here, to discuss a very nice topic. And this topic actually has a lot of relevance for me, at least, in the near future, because of the upcoming yatra that I will be going on. I don't know if any of you is going to the yatra by my spiritual master, His Holiness Ramapad Swami, to Haridwar and Badrinath. But one of the days we will be going to the yatra in Kurukshetra. So one of the days is reserved for Kurukshetra, and this topic is very important from that angle, today's topic. So today and tomorrow, and we'll see if I'll try to finish this Kurukshetra topic before I go on yatra, at least. And it has a huge significance from that angle. So we'll discuss all those things, but before that, let us do quick Mangalacharan. So I will just simply recite the Mangalacharan. You can, on mute, you can recite along with me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Let us recite the invocation verses for Srimad Bhagavatam. I invite you to recite with me if you can. Unmute, and if possible, at least some of you. So, here is the for you to look. So our obeisances, our pranam to Sri Shukadev Goswami, who narrated Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And this episode occurred in Shukratal. So that's another place we will be going in the yatra. So this yatra is heavily focused on Srimad Bhagavatam. So, of course, Kurukshetra has significance for the Mahabharata battle and the speaking of Bhagavad Gita. But today we will discuss a lesser known significance of Kurukshetra. Lesser known, but not less. It's at least for Gaudiya Vaishnav devotees, it's more important, I feel. Anyway, so Shukratal is where the Srimad Bhagavatam was originally spoken by Shukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. Then second, it was again spoken by Suta Goswami to the Shaunaka Adi Rishis. This was in Naimisharanya. So Naimisharanya is a little bit far away. Both are in Uttar Pradesh. So modern day Uttar Pradesh, but that's the other place where Srimad Bhagavatam was retold by Suta Goswami. So Naimisharanya and Shukratal. So Shukratal we will go. Naimisharanya, there was already a yatra that was done along with Ayodhya and other places. So our humble pranams to Sri Suta Goswami and the Shaunaka Adi Rishis. Okay, if some of you can recite back, that will be nice. Unmute yourself and recite or call and response if possible. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam
Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devi Saraswati Vyasam.
O Jayamudiraet.
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Prayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nashtamrayesva Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Adiptama Shloke.
Bhagavate
Uttam
Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Bhakti Bhavati Nasti.
Krishnaya Vasudevaya.
Krishnaya Vasudevaya.
Devaki Nandanaya Cha.
Devaki Nandanaya cha.
Nanda Gopakumaraya.
Nanda Gopakumaraya.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Thank you very much. So, okay, now we get into the main topic for today. Okay. Arrange my desktop a little bit. Okay. Right. All right. So, topic for today is, so I'll share my screen here. From my iPad. So we'll go back to our routine model of going verse by verse. Okay. Can you see this?
Not clearly.
Not clearly.
It's okay. I think I can see it.
Okay, I think the font is small. That's all.
Yeah, it is small. I agree. We'll see how best, but yeah.
is better.
Okay. And slowly, I think as the screen sharing progresses, the Zoom will make it better. Okay. So the topic is, I didn't put the title of the chapter. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 82. And this chapter is titled The Meeting of Sri Krishna and Sri Balarāma with the Vrajavasis. So, meeting of Sri Krishna and Sri Balarāma with the Vrajavasis. It's a very, very important topic, very sweet topic, and a very deep topic in the sense that one wonders that Krishna, we know that the Vrajavasis love Krishna so much. With all that's the only person they love. They have never known how to love anyone else. So we are straight away going into a very deep topic of love with God. So I don't know how many, I see some new names which I have never seen before. So welcome to, Srimad Bhagavatam. If you are not familiar with spiritual topics, with Vaishnava topics, with Srimad Bhagavatam, just stay put and enjoy. Many others that I see are veterans, understand the sort of the significance of topics, especially the topic of love for or love with God. So, and God is none other than Sri Krishna. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. And this topic, 10.82, is very strongly bringing out this topic of love with God or love for God. And the topmost people in the whole creation ever who love Krishna the most are the Vrajavasis. So their love is being shown. And the speciality of this chapter is that in the entire, now Srimad Bhagavatam is the most authoritative singular basis. It is the foundation. It's the basis of everything else that we know about Sri Krishna. It's the foundational textbook, scripture or shastra that tells us everything, the most detailed version of Sri Krishna. And the 10th canto is all about Sri Krishna alone. Sri Krishna is there in many other cantos. Almost every other canto is something or the other is there. But exclusively, the complete details are in the 10th canto. And 10th canto has 90 chapters. It's the biggest one. And we are on 82nd chapter. So you might wonder why we are picking up this random chapter from the, almost towards the end. My goal is to start from beginning. We'll see how we go. But since the Kurukshetra Yatra is coming up, at least for me and for some other devotees, now I see a couple of devotees here who are going on the Yatra, at least that I know. So they will, have special significance of this discussion. But I wanted to immerse myself in this discussion and share with all of you. And many others probably will watch later on YouTube this recording and try to relish, not relish, but also prepare their heart, prepare their mindset for going to that place. After understanding, after hearing, after immersing yourself in this topic about Kurukshetra, when you go to that place after that kind of a meditation or absorption, the effect of going to that place is whole different level, just completely different. The level at which one can connect with the place, the love that one develops with the place, and the eagerness then one goes with to that place, that tirtha or that pilgrimage place, is just at a whole different level. And that is what is, and then we want to see, where did this exact thing happen? Which exact spot? Can you take me to the exact spot where something like this happened, that happened, that happened? And this is actually what we had discussed in Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu about Mathura Vas. When we discussed living in Mathura or living in Mathura Mandal, not just Mathura, but Mathura Mandal, and very various pastimes were mentioned in that verse by Sri Rupa Goswami. Here is where the Lord Krishna broke the cart and killed the cart demon Shakatasur. Here is where, at this another spot, where Mother Yashoda bound him to the mortar. When you have that love with Krishna and you have that attachment to those Leelas, you want to go to that exact spot, not just even general Vrindavan, the exact place where it happened. So that is just the whole point of connecting with Sri Krishna, immersing ourselves in those pastimes. And part of it is connecting with that place and going to the place. And maybe, living in that place when one is more advanced. So that is the purpose of discussing this with all of you, this topic of Kurukshetra, because at least I will be going there in about 1.5 months from now. Now, a special aspect of this Kurukshetra is, like I was saying, this aspect of love with Krishna. Now, as you all know, why is this important? As you all know, the topmost devotees of Sri Krishna are the Vrajavasis. There is nobody else who loves Krishna more than the Vrajavasis. And in the 45th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, is the last time when Sri Krishna is with the Vrajavasis, especially the men, the cowherd men, especially Nanda Maharaj. He has left the gopis much earlier. The last time when he sees the gopis is when Akrurji is taking Krishna away from Vrindavan. And the gopis are looking at that rath or that chariot disappear into the distance in the dust. So that is the last eye contact that the gopis had with Sri Krishna. This 45th chapter is the last time when Nanda Maharaj, after the killing of Kamsa, so the men from Vrindavan went to Mathura and then witnessed, and then Krishna killed Kamsa in that, arena, in that boxing match or whatever you can call it, wrestling match, etc. You know that the whole pastime in 44th chapter. He killed the elephant, what was his name? Kuvalayapida, and the two Chanura and Mushtika, and so many, all that things happened. After that, Krishna tells Nanda Maharaj, please return back to Vrindavan. I will come. I want to meet my relatives. They are waiting. They have not met me for such a long time because Ugrasen was his relative, his mother and father, his sort of biological, we say mother, father. There's no biology here, but still, Vasudeva, and they have not seen him. They were in jail and all that. So they have not seen me for a long time. Let me give them some happiness and I will come back. He says this. He even says to the gopis when he was ascending that chariot along with Akrurji in a much previous chapter, I will come back. I will come back. And he does not come back. He does not come back. And many, many years pass. And by the way, I will tell you a secret at the end of this whole discussion, maybe in a few weeks. But anyway, so a sort of a, high point. We'll end this whole episode with a high point. So stay tuned for that. And anyway, this whole Srimad Bhagavatam discussion is about relishment. So just listen, absorb, relish, if you can. And if not, just here, maybe the taste for relishment will develop. That is the purpose. If you can relish Srimad Bhagavatam, life is fully successful. So relishing Srimad Bhagavatam is the goal. Nothing like once I relish Srimad Bhagavatam, then something, then I will become a yogi, then I will go to moksha, have moksha. None of that. Relishing Srimad Bhagavatam is the end goal. There is nothing beyond that. Anyway, so he does not come back. Many years pass. So there are two aspects of love. Okay, one is called union, and then one is called separation. Okay, so both evoke a lot of love. There is love in union, it's easy to understand, but also there is love in separation. It's not a foreign concept. You all will understand with somebody you love, when they are away from you, when they have left you, then that emotion also becomes even much stronger than in union. Okay, so please understand, after many years, several years have passed, and these devotees have not met Krishna. They last saw him long back, and now they are meeting. So there was union from, the time Krishna went to Gokul after Vasudevji transported him from the jail, and all his childhood pastimes, Putana and stealing butter and all the mischief he did, all that was part of union. And then many years pass in separation, and now Sri Krishna is living in Dwarka. He is not just living in Dwarka, he is the king of Dwarka, Dwarkadhish. And now again, so from union there was separation many years, and then from separation again now is the time of union. That is 10.82. So, or Canto 10, Chapter 82. That is the significance of the 82nd chapter. It is the union that is occurring after a very long separation. So think about somebody whom you deeply love, or he's the person you love the most. Not even you love the most, he's the only person you love. Most means that, okay, most number one, then there is 2, 3, 4. Nobody else. That is the situation of the Vrajavasis. They don't love anybody else other than Krishna. The real, genuine love is only there for Sri Krishna. And after a long separation, now they are going to meet in this chapter. So you can imagine the build up and the whole emotion and everything that is there in this chapter, which is going to come up. And there's a lot to learn for us as devotees. Tremendous amount of learning exists for devotees to understand the purpose is to understand this is the mood, the bhava of the Vrajavasis. And for those who have gone through the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that is one of a very important things to understand is the mood of the Vrajavasis, because who are these Vrajavasis? What is the name given to them? Anybody can tell from our class?
Ragatmika.
Ragatmika Bhakta. Ragatmika Bhakta. So if we understand the mood of the Vrajavasis, that is a very key step in becoming what kind of Bhakta? Ourselves?
Raganuga.
Raganuga Bhakta. So that is why it is very important to understand the mood of the Vrajavasis, because then unless you understand their mood, how can you even develop the aspiration to or the greed to develop that mood if you don't even know what that mood is? So all these things make this chapter extremely important. There is just very deep emotion. I mean, probably this is not the chapter to start or, just bang, start Srimad Bhagavatam from. It should build up through several chapters. So I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing by discussing this, but many devotees will be going on this yatra. That yatra is sort of the main driver to have this discussion. And if any of you are planning to go to India, not as part of yatra, go to Kurukshetra. It's near New Delhi or north of New Delhi. It's actually in Haryana state. But anyway, so as you all know, in Kurukshetra, what happens is Mahabharat Yuddha, the great world war, so to say. But the other thing that happens is this reunion. And this is happening much, much, much before the Mahabharat war. So many years. So there is significance of Kurukshetra even before the Mahabharat war. This episode is occurring many years before Mahabharat war. You will see in this chapter, many people come to to Kurukshetra, and they behave as friends. So even the Kauravas are there and the Pandavas are there. All of them are here in this episode. So you will see all this happening, and that indicates that this is pre-Mahabharat story or episode. Okay, with that big background for the last 20 minutes, let us now get into the verses. Am I forgetting anything else? I'm trying to think. Okay. All right. So how I have organized this discussion. So let me add a page here. So there are 48 verses in this chapter. I'm going, in detail, and the purpose is to go into detail. At least I love to do that. Another thing is I want to complete this before Yatra. So we'll see. We'll try to create a balance. We might do some extra classes. Those who can attend, attend. I'll post all of these on YouTube. If you can't attend on Zoom, you can catch the recording. So there are 48 verses in this chapter, and we'll go through each verse in detail. Some of the verses are more significant, at least from my point of focus. I want to focus on some of the verses more than the others. Acharyas have written various commentaries. So also we have to understand Srimad Bhagavatam through the commentaries. That is where, and these commentaries are not just, for those who are newer, don't think of it just like, a simple language explanation of the verse. There is a translation and then an expanded explanation. It's not that. It is that. There is another very important aspect. Because these commentaries are not written by ordinary people. They are not written by Sanskrit scholars just who know Sanskrit, or grammarians who are expert at grammar, or poets who can imagine things. That's not the point. The point, these commentaries are written by our acharyas. And what happens is when these acharyas are meditating on Srimad Bhagavatam, they go into a state called samadhi, or we can say a state of trance, deep spiritual meditation. And in their heart, and because they are such great acharyas, they are our Vaishnava acharyas, great saints, in their meditation within their heart, the Lord Sri Krishna reveals more details, and also his mood. When he is doing something, what is Krishna's intention behind doing that? All that gets, or some of it gets revealed to these, our great Vaishnava acharyas. And they write it down as commentaries or within their commentaries. So that is the significance of these commentaries. This, of course, the Srimad Bhagavatam itself is coming from Sri Shukadeva Goswami, who is, a great personality. But our acharyas and the specific commentaries that I am going to refer, 5 commentaries. Actually, yeah, 5 commentaries, I will say. And let me tell you which commentaries I'm referring. Commentaries are also known as tikas. So, by first is Sridhar Swami. He predates Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he's in the 13th century. Then we have the Laghu Vaishnava Toshni by Sri Jiva Goswami. I'm not going to spend time in explaining who is Jiva Goswami, and I cannot do justice in 2 minutes. He's just, for those that may not know, he's a great Vaishnava Acharya from the 15th century. Then Brihad Vaishnav Toshni by Sri Sanatan Goswami, also in the 15th century. Then Sarartha Darshini by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur from the 17th century. And Vaishnava Anandini by Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan of the 17th, 18th century. So these are the, and of course there is the BBT commentary, which is from the 1990s or 1980s. These are the disciples of Srila Prabhupada who wrote the BBT commentary because Srila Prabhupada could not finish 10th canto. He did till chapter 13, and 14 onwards is done by his disciples. So we call that the BBT commentary. But they have taken most of their content again from here. But again, I like to go directly to the source and get the, there's just a lot more. The BBT, if they would have taken everything from this, the size of 10th canto would have been 10 times bigger. So, to keep the size manageable, they didn't take everything. Anyway, so that's what we will be going through. All right. Having said all of this, let's go into the first verse. We'll cover some of the verses today, then we'll continue tomorrow, and so on till we finish the chapter. Okay. So from verse number 1 to approximately, let me see, number 14, I think, or 13. Yeah. Yes, 1 to 13 are in the Chanda Anushtup. This is our very simple, straightforward 8-syllable Chanda or meter. So this is our most common Bhagavad Gita meter, as we call it. Anyway, I'm not an expert reciter, but we'll try to keep track of the chandas and we'll try to recite some of these verses and let's see and go into detailed meaning. All right, so let's go here. Shri Shuka Uvacha atha ekada dvaravattyam vasato Rama Krishnayoh Suryoparaga Sumahan Asita Kalpakshaye Yatha. So that is the first verse. Okay. So let's see what's going on here. So the format of the discussion will be, we will go verse by verse. I will discuss some aspects of the verse, and then I will request somebody to read the BBT translation. So you can, pay attention, and if I call your name, you can unmute and read the translation. Let's see, there is permission to unmute. Everybody can unmute. Let's see. Yeah, everybody can unmute. So I'll just randomly call on devotees to do that. And yeah. Okay, let's see. So the first one, atha ekada dvaravatyam. So dvaravatyam means that in Dwaraka. Okay, so this is Dwaraka. So atha ekada, there's a special significance of this. Atha and ekada. Atha means then, ekada means one time or one day. My pencil is misbehaving. One day. Then one day, Dvaravatyam, while residing in Dwaraka, Vasato, while residing in Dwaraka, Ramakrishnayoh. Who is Ramakrishna? Is Lord Balaram or Sri Balaram and Sri Krishna. Now, another thing we see here, Sri Balaram is mentioned as Rama here. So, when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, every mantra or every shloka can have multiple meanings. So, of course, in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we have Rama, and that is referring to Lord Sri Ramachandra from the Raghuvamsh, from the Sun dynasty. So, Raghuvir Sri Ramachandra. Another understanding of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is Ram is Balaramji. Now, some people raise objection that no, it is only Lord Sri Ramachandra. How can we say it is Balaram? Ram is Rama. But the point I'm trying to make here is, here in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, we see Rama Krishna Yoha. And this is referring obviously to Sri Balaram, who is residing in Dwaraka, Vasato Ramakrishnayoh. So Lord Ramachandra is not residing in Dwaraka. Dwaraka didn't even exist. Dwaraka city was created by Sri Krishna. That is mentioned right there in Srimad Bhagavatam itself. So there was no Dwaraka before, and there was no presence of Lord Ramachandra in Dwaraka. Anyway, so that was just one point to mention. Okay. Surya Uparagaha Sumahan. So Surya Uparaga is a very important thing. Eclipse. Sumahan, Mahan, and Sumahan means great, and Sumahan means very great. So a extraordinary or very great eclipse occurred. Asita Kalpakshaye Yatha. And Kalpa Yatha means as if. And Kalpakshaya means as if it's the end of the universe, like the the Lord Brahma's night was kind of going to come. That was the understanding. It was a very great eclipse. So we don't know what is the meaning of or how great of an eclipse. If you want to consider it from modern understanding, we can say it was a total solar eclipse, because we know there is partial solar eclipses that occur and total. So or it could be something more greater than that. But anyway, all that this verse is saying is that there was a great eclipse that was going to occur, a great solar eclipse at a particular time, and at that time, Sri Krishna and Balaram were residing in Dwaraka. All right. So that much we understand from this verse. Now we have left a important word here, which I said I will discuss later, atha ekada or atha ekada. So atha ekada has a little significance that I want to share, that Sri Jiva Goswami, and I will represent him as SJG in short form, Sri Jiva Goswami, tells that whenever a new episode starts, it starts with, or typically one of the ways to indicate that now it's, there's no connection between the previous episode and this one. It's a fresh new episode. And what was the previous episode? So this is chapter 82. So in chapter 80 and 81, a very beautiful episode occurred or was described in Srimad Bhagavatam. That is that of Sudama Brahman. So I'm sure many of you or all of you have heard the story of Sudama. And a very, very sweet story. And it shows how Lord Krishna is subservient, becomes a servant of his devotee. He washes the feet of Sudama. That is the extent to which he falls down. And he makes Sudamaji sit on his throne, and he sits down and he's washing the feet. Anyway, so the there is also a sort of a change of rasa or a change of bhav that is occurring. So Shukdev Goswami, think about it. And again, these are all, sweet things to understand about Srimad Bhagavatam as explained by our acharyas, okay? Shukdev Goswami is narrating Srimad Bhagavatam. He is the most rasik narrator, the sweetest narrator of Srimad Bhagavatam ever. And Parikshit Maharaj is just absorbed in listening Srimad Bhagavatam and is flowing with that rasa, is flowing with that bhav. And he's right now in the bhav of Sudama pastime, and he's probably wishing that, oh, I should have been there when this episode was occurring, and I should have seen how Lord Krishna is washing the feet of Sudama. So, and all that. Now, atha ekada means, okay, he wants to bring back Parikshit Maharaj from that mood and insert him into another mood. Okay. So he has to extract out Parikshit Maharaj from there. It's like, when I used to take my kids to a museum or some, theme park, and they just want to, absorb themselves in one exhibit. And I'm telling them, no, there's this other one. Let's go and see, if you spend all your time here, then, you won't see the other one. So sometimes I had to like literally extract them from there and then take them. Then they will forget this one and they will get absorbed in the other one because everything is so sweet. Everything is so interesting. So in the same way, that is the purpose Sri Jiva Goswami explains of this atha ekada. I thought that was very nice and something to relish about in this verse from the viewpoint of Sri Jiva Goswami. And also, another thing that Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out, SVCT will mean Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. In his commentary, he points out that this episode occurred before the Rajasuya Yajna. So there was a big Rajasuya Yajna that was conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthir. And why it is said it is before is because all the problems between Kauravas and Pandavas kind of started at the Rajasuya Yajna. Well, the problem started a moment when they were born. Duryodhan tried to kill Bhima when he was a small child. He poisoned him, threw him into the river, all those things. So all that was there, but real animosity started. And here in this chapter, we see that they were kind of like, so to say, externally, they were behaving friendly. After the Rajasuya Yajna, even external friendship was gone. It was clearly just very transactional. There's no sort of deep love between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And only to, for external reasons, they would behave cordially, but internally there was. But here in this chapter, we see some, exchanges of friendship between them. So therefore, it is said it is before the Rajasuya Yajna. So all these conclusions can be drawn from the chapter. Okay, so that's about this verse. Okay, let's see. Will somebody read the translation? We'll go with those who have turned their video on. Kaya Mataji, could you please?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Sukadev Goswami said, once while Balarāma and Kṛṣṇa were living in Dvarka, there occurred a great eclipse of the sun, just as if the end of Lord Brahma's day had come.
Thanks. So we discussed all of these points, right, through our verse. Okay. Next. Second verse. Tam gyatva manuja rajan purastad eva sarvataha Samanta Panchakam kshetram Yayuh Shreyo Vidhitsaya. Again, Anushtup meter, standard Bhagavad Gita meter. And what it says, Tam Gyatva Manuja Rajan. So Rajan means, oh dear King Parikshit. So this is Shukadev Goswami narrating the episode to Maharaj Parikshit. He calls him Rajan. Tam Gyatva Manuja. So the people, Manuja, Tam Gyatva, knowing this. So they knew this, that the eclipse was going to occur. So one point to be noted here, and plus it says Purastad. Purastad means Purastad from before Purva, from earlier on itself they knew Purastad Eva Sarvataha. So Eva and Sarvataha Samanta Panchakam Kshetram, that will come to Purastad. So from before they knew Tam Gyatva Manuja. Manuja means the people, all the people. So this shows that, I mean, predicting an eclipse of the sun, that to its totality, assuming that this Sumahan means it's a total solar eclipse, requires some very deep knowledge of astronomy and mathematics and all this stuff. I mean, today we can do it with modern science and computers and all the calculators and whatnot, and the, you know, knowing the motion of the planets and all that, moon around the sun, etc. But point is that what is being said is, even in that time of Lord Krishna, all this was known to the extent of the totality, assuming that Sumahan of this eclipse is totality. So ancient time, and this is Lord Krishna's time, which is 5,000 years ago, which is around 3000 BC. That is attributed to be the time when Lord Krishna was present on the planet, on planet Earth. So at that time, also this knowledge was known, how to calculate, how to predict eclipses. So that shows the sort of the extent of our scientific understanding even at that time. Okay. Eva sarvatah samanta panchakam kshetram yayuh shreyo vidhitsaya. So yayuh. So that's one sentence. Eva sarvatah samanta panchakam kshetram yayuh. So these people, all these people knowing about the prediction or the, you know, occurrence of the eclipse in the future, what did they do? Eva, yayuh means they went. And where did they go? To Samanta Panchakam. This Samanta Panchakam is Kurukshetra. It's another name for Kurukshetra. It's known as Samanta Panchak. Even on Google Maps today, if you go, you will see Samanta Panchak and Kurukshetra mentioned. Both of them are mentioned. And if you Google for Samanta Panchak, you will get Wikipedia page of Kurukshetra, and it clearly says even today it's the other name of Kurukshetra. Kshetram, so means place. Eva sarvataha, from everywhere. So from everywhere, people went to this place called Samanta Panchakam, which is Kurukshetra, due to the upcoming eclipse. And the reason why did they go? That is shown by Shreyo Vidhitsaya. Shreyo Vidhitsaya means to, Vidhitsaya means to get or to obtain. Shreya or means auspiciousness. So to obtain auspiciousness, they went to Kurukshetra. So a solar eclipse is not considered an auspicious event. Okay. And one is, you know, advised to do various things to create auspiciousness when something like this happens, like something inauspicious like a solar eclipse happens. And one of the things that is recommended here is that one goes to a auspicious place or a place of pilgrimage. And we will see in the next verse what is the significance of Kurukshetra. But they all the people came to Kurukshetra to obtain auspiciousness because a inauspicious event such as a total solar eclipse is going to occur. So that is the understanding. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's see. Makarand Prabhu, could you please read the translation? Loud and clear. You are muted.
Knowing of this eclipse in advance, O king, many people went to the holy place known as Samanta Panchaka in order to earn pious credit.
Very nice. Okay. All right. Now, the little bit description of the place Kurukshetra or Samanta Panchak is given in the next few verses. So the BBT version combines many of these verses. So it's long, so translation is on next page. So let's see 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So I'll draw the line here. So this is verse number 3. Then verse number 4. Verse number 5. And verse number 6 has 6 lines instead of 4. Sometimes, verses can have 6 lines and so on. So this is verse 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. So let's see what is going on. Okay. So verse number 3. निःक्षत्रियां महीं कुर्वन् रामः शस्त्रभृतां वरः नृपाणां रुधिरौघेण यत्र चक्रे महाहृदान्. All right. So निःक्षत्रियां महीं kurvan. So mahim means the earth, and kurvan means some to do. Nihi kshatriyam means nihi means no, and kshatriya is the kshatriyas. So who made the earth without kshatriyas?
Parshuram.
Parshuramji, very nice. Now that is Ramaha. So another use of Ramaha we see. In the previous first verse, we saw Ram indicating who?
Balaram.
Lord Balaram.
Balramji. Here, Rama is indicating Parshuramji. See, such a vast difference. Parshuramji predates even Lord Ram. So, So, Ramaha and Shastra Bhritam Varaha. So, which Ramaha is being mentioned here is also given so that people don't get confused. Shastra Bhritam Varaha. So, the greatest, Varaha means greatest, Bhritam means the wielder or the, user of Shastra, weapons. So, Parshuramji was the greatest wielder of weapons. Now, again, yeah, you can apply that to Lord Ram also. He was also, but he is mainly for Dhanush. But Parshuramji was wielder of all kinds of weapons. So, that is the Ramaha who is being mentioned here. And also we know he is the one who rid or who eradicated the earth of. There was a time when the Kshatriyas had become very corrupt. So it's not like he had any caste or tribal wars like, I will eliminate, between Hindus and Muslims just because you are born in a specific one, I will eliminate. No, the Lord never does that. He arranges a way in, only justice is served. So these Kshatriyas had become very, very corrupt. Think about today's politicians and magnify that many, many times. So you would say that today's politicians are corrupt, or at least most of them. So he rid the earth 21 times from the Kshatriyas. So that is he is being mentioned. So basically, who is being mentioned here? Lord Parashurama. Lord Parashuram is being mentioned here. Nripanam Rudhiraoghena. So, and Rudhira Oghena. So, when he killed all these Kshatriyas, there was Nripanam, these kings, their blood was flowing like rivers. And Yatra Chakre Mahahridan. And so Hridan means it's Hradan, not Hrida, but Hrada. Hrad means a pond or a lake. So he made so many, where he made many lakes of these, all these rivers of blood from the Kshatriyas came and assembled and made lakes. And totally it is called 5 lakes were made. And that is the meaning of Samanta Panchaka. Samanta means a lake or a pond, and Panchaka is 5. So that is the meaning of how this place got its name, Samanta Panchaka. And today also, if you go, there will be 5 lakes or 5 ponds are there. One is known as Brahmakund or Brahma Sarovar. There is one. So the place where the meeting of Lord Krishna with the Vrajavasis happens is near a place called Sannihit Sarovar. So that is the place where the meeting happens. There is a place called Brahma Sarovar. That is the place where Duryodhan went and hid himself. When at the end of the war, Mahabharata, if you have heard, Duryodhan became scared for his life, and he goes and hides inside a lake. Now there is water in those lakes. At the starting point, there was blood. We will see how that blood gets converted to water in a short time. But there is water anyway. So Duryodhan hides, and then Bhima goes and brings him out, and then challenges him to that battle of Gada Yuddha, or battle of the clubs or mace, and then kills him. So that happens in Brahma Sarovar. And anyway, so Sannihit Sarovar is the place of our interest. And there are other Sarovars also. I don't remember their names. There's one which I forget. It starts with a J. If you look on Google Maps, you'll find it. Anyway. Yeah. So next verse. So then what happens? So we'll read the translations together later. Okay. Or let's see if I don't know if the translations are arranged. Yeah, let's see. We can read this much. I don't know who wants to read. Anybody of you want to unmute and
I can read from you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. After ridding the earth of kings, Lord Parashurama, the foremost of warriors, created huge lakes from the king's blood at Samanta Panchaka.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So that is the verse number 3. So that was contained within one sentence, so we could read it. So that's what happened in verse 3. Verse 4, what happens? Then what happens is Ije cha Bhagavan Ramo Yatra Sprishtopi Karmana Lokam Sangagrahanyan Isho Yatha Nyogha Apanuttaye. So that is 4th verse. So what it means, Ije cha Bhagavan Ramo. So Ija means a yagya. So Bhagavan Ramo. So Rama is again who? Parshuramji. He performs and he's being called as Bhagavan. There's a significance to it. So he's Bhagavan Parshuram performed a yagya. Yatra sprishtopi karmana. So even though asprishto, yatra asprishto api karmana, even though activities, now those of you who have done Bhagavad Gita know that when you perform, any activity, you get the reaction. If you perform a good activity, you get a pious reaction. If you perform a sinful activity, you get a sinful reaction. But what is being said here is Parshuramji was Bhagwan himself, and he's untouched. Asprishto. Asprishta means to touch. Sprish. Asprish means he was untouched by all these activities of karma because he's Bhagwan. Bhagwan is above the law of karma. Yet, lokam sangrahayan isho. For sangrahayan means to teach or to set an example. So this is very important. Sangrahayan, to set an example. Or to teach by personal example. So, to teach by personal example to the people, yatha nyoga apanutyate, apanuttaye. So, apanuttaye means atonement or prayaschit or atonement. So, when you commit a sinful activity, you have to undergo severe atonement. So, even though he didn't need to, that's what's being said, he still performed a great yajna to atone for his activity of killing the Kshatriyas. Even though it was justified, still it was an activity of, killing. And so he did this great yajna to atone himself. Yatha anyo, just like anya, just like some ordinary person, some other person, even though he is Bhagavan. So you can see here the contrast between the word Bhagavan and anya. So that shows that he didn't need to, but still he did. And that is how, when he did that atonement, that effect was so huge that that blood in the lakes got converted to pure water. So due to that atonement. So that's the result of his performing this prayaschitta. I mean, that is not written here, but that's the understanding. Okay, so let's see. Yes, so that's the next sentence is here. So yeah, I think Shamlila Mataji, you had raised your hand. Kindly read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Although he is never tainted by karmic reactions, Lord Parshuram performed sacrifices there to instruct people in general. Thus, he acted like an ordinary person trying to free himself of sins.
Right? So that's what we discussed. So this is verse number 4. Okay. Verse number 5. Mahatyam Tirtha Yatrayam. So now the significance of Samanta Panchaka or Kurukshetra has been established in these two verses. The significance of Kurukshetra has been established. Now in 5 and 6, we will see what the various people from all over the places. Now we are back in present age, present as in Lord Krishna's time. All the people are assembling in Kurukshetra. So that's what's being said. Mahatyam Tirtha Yatrayam. So many people did Tirtha Yatra to Kurukshetra, obviously because of the eclipse. Tatragan Bharati Praja. All over India, or not India, Bharat. Bharat was the entire planet was known as Bharatvarsh. Not just modern day India or something. So basically that entire empire over which Maharaj Parikshit was ruling, that whole thing. So Tatragan Bharati Praja, all the people, many people from, and Mahatyam means great people. Those who could afford to travel such great distances, they all came to Kurukshetra. And now we see who all came. So that is being said, now the who's who. And this will continue later throughout the chapter. So the first one that is mentioned is the Vrishnis. Who are the Vrishnis? Again, we discussed this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but the Vrishnis are, who are the Vrishnis?
Dwarkavasis.
Dwarkavasis. Very nice. So, or the Yadus. They are known as the Yadus, all the relatives of Sri Krishna. And who is the foremost among them? Sri Krishna. So Sri Krishna. So among them were Vrishnaya Cha and Akrurji. Akrurji was also living in Dwarka at that time. So, he was the one who took away Krishna from Vrindavan, and Krishna said, I will come back. He never came back, and Akrurji stayed with Krishna. So he is enjoying the association of Krishna while depriving the Vrajavasis of association. So even though his name is Akrura, which means not cruel, the Vrajavasis say he is the most cruel, the most cruel. He took away Krishna from us and, for himself, And also we see here Vasudevji, also who is, living in Dwarka along with Krishna, Ugrasenji, Adayaha, etc. So basically all the Vrishnis are being described here. So the Vrishnis are, this is sort of the who's who. Now Krishna is not mentioned here. He will be mentioned. He deserves a separate verse. So he will come like a big boss in a different verse. But the big Vrishnis like Akrurji, Vasudevji, and Ugrasen, all these are the big people of where? Of Dwarka. So they are all arriving there. All right. And there are more names that will come. We can finish the whole verse here and we can read. So, Yayur Bharata tatam kshetram swam agham kshapayishnavaha gada pradyumna sambadya suchandra shuka saranaihi aste niruddho rakshayam kritavarma cha yuthapaha. So those are the 6 lines of this verse. So who all came, and there were some people who stayed back also in Dwarka. You cannot, just come. Everybody cannot come, like in a Memorial Day parade, the whole army doesn't come. Some army has to be on the borders to protect the borders also. If the whole army will come to Washington, D.C. or New Delhi, enemies will know that, the borders are unprotected and they can attack. So again, that's the mood here. So, who all came? So, Yayur Bharata, he's the emperor. So, Parikshit Maharaj, Tat Kshetram, to that place, who all came? And okay, Swam Agham Kshapayishnavaha. So, Kshapa means to eradicate or to forgive, to ask for forgiveness for themselves. Swam Agham, for their sinful activities. So you one goes to a holy place of pilgrimage for, doing this atonement. So many people came. And who all came? Some more names. Gada, Pradyumna, Samba, Adayaha, etc. So 3 more names are there. And more names. Suchandra, Shuka, and Sarana. So 3 more names. Aste Aniruddho Rakshayam. So Aste means he remained. Who remained? Aniruddha. Aniruddha is the grandson of Sri Krishna. So Rakshayam. So he stayed back to protect. He was a general and he stayed back to protect Dwarka. Along with Kritavarma Cha Yuthapaha. He was the military general. So Yuthapaha means he's the general of the army. So Kritavarma, along with Aniruddha, stayed back. So that's the description. So it's a description of who all came and somebody stayed back. Okay, let's see. Sri Murari Prabhu, can you read this from here to here? Are you muted? Are you able to unmute and read Sri Murari Prabhu?
Oh, sorry, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. From all parts of Bharatavarsha, a great number of people now came to that Samanta Panchaka on pilgrimage. A descendant of Bharata, among those arriving at the holy place were many Vrishnis, such as Gada, Pradyumna, and Samba, hoping to be relieved of their sins. Akrura, Vasudeva, Ahuka, and other kings also went there. Aniruddha remained in Dwarka with Suchandra, Sukha, and Sarana to guard the city, together with Krutavarma, the commander of their armed forces.
Okay.
Next.
Okay, so from here we understand that even this line, Suchandra, Shuka, and Sarana, and Kritavarma and Aniruddha, they all stayed back. So these three lines is one for those who stayed back, and these lines are those who went to Kurukshetra. All right, fine. So that is this. Now let us go to the next verse. 7 and 8. Okay. I'm looking at my notes to see what I may have missed. Okay. All right, 7 and 8. Now we see the description and we will see Sri Krishna and others. Let's see, Sri Krishna will come probably in the next one. Okay, yeah, okay. Te rathair deva dhishnabhair hyaishcha taralaplavaihi plavaihi gajair nadadbhir abhrabhair nribhir vidyadharadyubhihi व्यरोचन्त महातेजाः पथि काञ्चन मालिनः दिव्यसृगवस्त्रसन्नाः कलत्रैः खेचरा इव. So again, so I assume you all understand some of these ways to pronounce. This is a long a. So it's better to pronounce in the proper way. Okay. So, te rathair deva dhishnabhair. So, the Yadus were coming. So now, you will see here in this verse a very dazzling sort of a entry, of Yadus into Kurukshetra. So very, like a whole, like in the movie scene, you might see when the main hero is entering or whatever the scene, or whatever Air Force One is arriving or something like that, So Lord Krishna is arriving here from Dwarka to Kurukshetra, and it's a very dazzling description of Lord Krishna along with the Yadus into their arrival into Kurukshetra. Now, one thing I want to point out, are there any artists here? And if you feel shy, don't raise your hand. That's okay. But for some places, and as I have been reading this chapter for almost 2 months now, along various commentaries and this and that, again at a slow pace. It doesn't need 2 months to read it, but I'm just slow. But anyway, as I was reading, I was thinking, there is a wonderful, so, what is Krishna Bhakti? Krishna Bhakti is simply meditating, or a better word is absorbing one's mind in thoughts of Sri Krishna. Okay. Sri Krishna or his devotees. Okay, his pure devotees. So that is called bhakti, and that is the highest goal of human life, is to perform bhakti. And like I said, reading Srimad Bhagavatam is absorbing one's mind and thoughts, in Sri Krishna. Another way is to read Srimad Bhagavatam, but like, for example, if one is an artist, then sort of read Srimad Bhagavatam and not just read as if you're reading the newspaper, every morning. Not that way. Deeply get into the mood of what is being said. And, once when you are in the mood and once you understand the basic construct of the philosophy so that you don't go wild or don't go against it, then you can draw a painting, you can draw a picture of what is being discussed. So, so at some places, I thought I'm not a painter at all. I'm not a singer or a painter, or I'm any of the art things I can't do. I can't do anything for that matter, but anyway. If there are devotees who would like to meditate on this pastime, I have made my notes that here is a good painting opportunity. So here is a painting opportunity. How, you can dive your mind, into imagining, again, at our level, there is no samadhi. You can imagine, based on what we are reading, how Krishna, along with his whole entourage, is entering Kurukshetra. And there is some description given here. Read it 100 times, maybe. Meditate on it and draw a painting. And I don't know how long it takes to draw. 2 hours, 2 days, 2 months. I have no idea. Take the time, and that will be a very nice meditation if you are a painter or a artist. Take the time and absorb yourself into thinking about this. And in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu classes, and this is not a simple thing. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu classes, we have talked about Leela Smaran. And we have talked about not just Leela Smaran, but the specific of Leela Smaran, specifics. Now, for an artist, he has to draw, if you take the whole page, he has to draw all the pixels, so to say. He has to fill the whole page with the painting, isn't it? Which means he has to meditate on every little aspect on that painting. Okay? What color should I color Krishna's garments? What kind of earring should I put on Krishna? Ultimately, it has to be painted. You can't just leave the face of Krishna aside. You have to put things there. What things to put here in this picture, in this place in the picture, in this place in the picture, how the horses should look, how his chariot should look. That itself is very nice and deep Leela Smaran. It's one very good way of doing Leela Smaran. But one should be at that level, and maybe it's not an exercise for the beginner. But those who are interested, those who are nice painters, I see some painters here. I know I won't probably reveal, but some of you have made some very nice paintings and put it in our temple. You know who you are. And, take this opportunity to meditate on this description in Srimad Bhagavatam and make a painting. And that would be a very nice smarana of this pastime. Anyway, so let's see. So we will see a very dazzling entry of Sri Krishna along with his entourage into Kurukshetra. Now there is a purpose of explaining why. One is to enable Leela Smaran for those who want to imagine how Krishna was entering. Now there is another purpose of mentioning this dazzling entry into Kurukshetra. because these are the who's who. They are the lords. I mean, even though the political leadership is in Hastinapur with the Kauravas, with Dhritarashtra. I may have said Parikshit in the past few minutes or few times. That's incorrect. Replace it with now that I realize, because Parikshit Maharaj is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam as a history a few years before from Shukadev Goswami, but really the ruler is the blind Dhritarashtra, and Duryodhan is sort of the real one who calls the shots, and the humble guy who is actually, you know, the official sort of prime minister, so to say, or you can think like that, is Vidurji. And Bhishma Pitamaha is the figurehead, but he has no power for various reasons. And so they are the political leadership, but they have great regard. Not all of them, some of them, like Bhishma Pitamaha, Vidurji, etc., in the Yadus, in Sri Krishna. So there is this sort of interesting dynamic between them. Anyway, so Lord Krishna is arriving, and in a very magnificent way. And later on, we will see a huge contrast between in the sort of the situation or the arrival of the Vrajavasis. And that is the contrast that is being shown here. And we will come later. So Vrajavasis are these villagers. They are very dear to Sri Krishna, no doubt. Sri Krishna has his whole heart for them. They are just separated, but it doesn't mean, don't ever think that Sri Krishna has forgotten the Vrajavasis. He was more remembering the Vrajavasis in Dwarka than when he was in Vraj. So if you want to see the happy Krishna, look for the Vraj type pastimes. Okay, where he's doing all kind of pranks. Vraj pastimes is just full of pranks and all the happy moments. And if you want to look at the sad Krishna, and you know, Hari Parshad Prabhu did a wonderful series called The Hankering God. You know, the desperate God, the God who is desperate for love. Then you should look at his situation in Dwarka, because he is also separated and he's burning in the flames of separation from the Vrajavasis. So, but his situation is very different. He's the king of Dwarka, and he's arriving with great glamour and, you know, very, you know, magnificent way. The Vrajavasis are just simple villagers who arrive in a very humble, very modest, in a very modest setting. So, you know, that whole huge contrast is also one of the purposes of showing this big, you know, dazzling entry of the Yadus. And we will see also points where it is shown how the Vrajavasis are really, among everybody that arrived into Kurukshetra, they were the most unimportant people. For Krishna, they were the most important, but for everybody else, from a society standpoint, they were the most unimportant. One of the learnings is to become a great devotee. It doesn't mean you have to be a very, you know, highly recognized person. You can be the most unknown person, the least known person, the least, you don't, no title is needed. I am a so-and-so. I am the president, vice president, director, this, that. No titles are needed to be a devotee. In Krishna's mind is all that one should care, that Krishna should recognize me as somebody who is his devotee. Nobody else's recognition should be sought after. Sarva upadhi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. That is the highest bhakti. Okay, so we will see the dazzling entry. Te rathair deva dhishnabhair. So their chariots, their rathas of the Yadus were resembling the Deva Dhishnya. Dhishnya means the aeroplanes of the Devatas. So they were living on Earth planet, the Yadus. I mean, they were all associates of the Supreme Lord, but they were residing on the Earth planet. And still, their chariots were appearing like aeroplanes of the Devatas. And Hayaishcha Tarala Plavaihi. Their horses were moving like waves. So, the chariots were just moving at what you call neck break speed, like Ferraris or whatever, they were just arriving like, imagine like a big entourage of the most important person on earth arriving there. Gajair Naddadbhir Abhrabhair. Elephants, Gajaihi, elephants were coming in. And Nadadbhir means with big sounds and, big drums and so on, as if like clouds were roaring. So big elephants and all, that whole entourage was coming like clouds. And Nribhir Vidyadhara Dyubhihi. And the soldiers, these are just the soldiers. They were looking like Vidyadharas. They were as bright. Dyubhihi means as bright, as shining as Vidyadharas. Vidyadharas are a species who are above the human species, who are like kind of between the humans and the Devatas. They are the celestial singers and the artists. They are known as the Vidyadharas. So like almost like Devatas. So their soldiers were also looking like Vidyadharas. So such a dazzling sight it was to see the entry of the Yadus or Lord Sri Krishna.
Prabhuji, is it the same as Gandharvas?
Slightly different. Gandharvas and Vidyadharas, kind of, they're both between humans and demigods or devatas. Gandharvas are, I think, more like musicians. Vidyadharas are more like the dancers or something like that. I don't quote me or don't catch me on this, but I don't know the finer details. Okay. Vyarochantam Mahatejah Pathik Kanchana Malinaha. So the Yadavas, the Vyarocanta means the Yadava princes who appeared very bright. Mahatejah. So the Yadavas themselves were like shining bright. Mahatejah Pathi Kanchana Malinaha. And they were coming into Kurukshetra. So their whole entourage was coming. Kanchana Malinaha, Mala. So, Malina means like a necklace of Kanchan. What is the meaning of Kanchan? Kanchan means gold. So wearing all kinds of golden jewelry and all. Divyas Srag Vastra Sannaha. So they were wearing these divine, Divya means divine, dresses and armor, and Srag means garlands, flower garlands, all these things as if they were coming straight from heaven, as they were coming on the route towards Kurukshetra. And Kalatraihi Khechara Iva, and they were basically looking like Khechara. Khechara means, Kha means sky, Char means who wanders in the sky. So the Devatas wander in the sky. So Khechara means Devatas, and Kalatraihi means along with their wives. So they were looking, Iva means like or resembling. So they were resembling, like those Yadus were coming, they were pretty much like Devatas coming into Kurukshetra. So a very, dazzling picture has been painted, and it's a good painting opportunity. And in the center, if you're a painter, put Sri Krishna in the center, and everybody else is coming along with, and you can create a very nice, dazzling picture of the entry of the Yadus into Kurukshetra. It would be a nice meditation on the magnificent, on the Aishwarya, opulent Sri Krishna. Okay, not maybe the sweet Krishna, but the Aishwarya Krishna. So if that's what you want to meditate on, that's an opportunity. All right. Yeah, Sri Sanatan Goswami says, Krishna, though it is not mentioned here, but Krishna was the centerpiece, or not piece, I take that back, but the central focus. So he was in the center. So he was like the moon. And all the other yadus were like just stars. So like the moon appears big in the sky. So when there is moon in the sky, the stars kind of become, the moon is the most beautiful object. So it was like a full moon sky where moon is shining bright, and then there are the stars and all on the side as well. And that's how Sri Krishna was looking like the brightest among all those yadus. So, okay. Would anybody like to read the translation here? I don't know who else might have been interested or raised their hand or. Anybody?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Please.
The mighty Yadavas passed with great majesty along the road. They were attended by their soldiers who rode on chariots, rivaling the airplanes of heaven, on horses moving with a rhythmic gait, and on bellowing elephants as huge as clouds. Also with them were many infantrymen as effulgent as celestial Vidyadharas. The Yadavas were so divinely dressed, being adorned with gold necklaces and flower garlands, and wearing fine armor. That was they proceeded along the road with their wives. They seemed to be demigods flying through the sky.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
You get the mood of, or you get kind of, this whole thing is just, I spent a lot of time on this, but one was because, or multiple things. One is to create sort of that meditation opportunity for those who may want to paint such a picture. If you can't paint, imagine such a picture in your mind. We are all good painters in the mind. We may not be good painters with a paintbrush, but we are all good painters in the mind. So in the mind, you can imagine this pastime or this appearance of Sri Krishna in a very dazzling way. And the other aspect why I spent time on this is to sort of, we'll see later, the contrast between this dazzling form of Sri Krishna and his associates of Dwarka with the Vrajavasis, who have a very modest sort of a situation as they come to Kurukshetra. So we'll see that big contrast. And for Sri Krishna, bhakti is the topmost, not the opulence. Okay, so we'll go forward, number 9. I know it's 7:39. We'll keep going for some more time. If you have to drop off, please drop off, if you have to do other things, or if it's getting late for you, you can always catch up on the recording. We'll go on for some more time. Yeah, I hope is it too slow, or are you can let me know later. I mean, but I wanted to go deep and sort of bring out all these points from the commentaries and of the previous acharyas and sort of give this sort of a flavored understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Next, number 9. Tatra snatva mahabhaga uposhya susamahitah brahmanebhyo dadurdhenur vasah srig rukmamalini. So, those yadus, tatra snatva mahabhaga. So these yadus, they are known as mahabhaga or very fortunate. Oops, what happened? Snatva, they took bath. Okay. And uposhya susamahita. And uposhya means to fast. So, and they fasted. Su samahita means not just fasting, but with absorption, with focus. So fasting is not like a self-torture activity. If you're doing it like a self-torture, don't fast. Eat. The main point is to know the purpose behind the fasting. That I am giving up my eating today and I want to focus on Sri Krishna. If you better focus on Krishna by eating than by not eating, then eat. If you can properly focus on Krishna and then also fast, that is better. But if you're fasting and always thinking about and looking at your watch and thinking when I will, when the fast breaking time will come and I will actually break the fast, and you didn't think even 1 minute about Sri Krishna, better not fast. Eat, and at least that way you can think of Krishna for 5 minutes. That's better than thinking of him for 0 minutes and only looking at the watch and thinking about food. Okay. So they were thinking su samahitaha means with focus on Sri Krishna. So the Yadus were very dedicated, or not dedicated, devoted to Sri Krishna. They were devotees of Sri Krishna. So they were, even though they were very opulent, they were very, very good devotees of Sri Krishna. Not as great as the Vrajavasis. Vrajavasis are the greatest. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, a whole hierarchy is given. We discussed some of these aspects, the theory in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is basically a textbook to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. And of course, to do bhakti, but one of the 5 major limbs of bhakti is to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu tells us how to read Srimad Bhagavatam, how to relish it. So here we are seeing those things that there are so many types of devotees, and clear demarcation or gradation was given between the Vrishnis and the Vrajavasis. So that's being brought out here. Okay. So they were also focused on devotees of Sri Krishna. And what did they do? Brahmanebhyo dadur dhenur. So to the Brahmanas, they give dhenu. Dhenu means what? Cow. We say Kamadhenu is that special cow, the desire fulfilling cow, right? Kamadhenu. So dhenu means cows. Dadur means they gave to the Brahmanas. So basically they gave charity. So what did they do? Basically they took bath. They fasted with focus. They gave charity. And what did they give in charity? Vasaha, Srag, and Rukmalinaha. So Rukma or Rukma Malinaha means gold ornaments. Vasa means clothes. And this is basically flowers. So they gave all these things in charity. And cows, dhenu. So they gave all these nice things in charity to the Brahmanas. So they gave charity. So that's the meaning of this verse. Okay, can somebody please read the translation? Quick, without wasting time. Yes, Usha Mataji.
At Samanta Panchaka, the saintly Yadavas bathed and then observed a fast with careful attention. Afterwards, they presented Brahmanas with cow bedecked with garments, flower garlands, and gold necklaces.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. Okay, so not only they gave cows and clothes and flowers, garlands separately, they decorated the cows with these things and then gave the charity of the cows. Very nice. I missed that part while explaining. Okay. All right. So now the eclipse is over. So they will again take bath. Okay. So the fasting was during the eclipse, before the eclipse and during the eclipse. Now they will break the fast, but this charity and all is done afterward, after the eclipse is over. So now the eclipse is over in verse number 10, and we will see what happens after the eclipse is over. Rama Hrideshu Vidhivat Punar Aplutya Vrishnayah Dadah Swannam Dvijagrebhyah Krishne no Bhaktir Astva iti. So this is the most important line. We'll come to that. But before that, what they did do? Rama Hradeshu Vidhivat. So again, what was the meaning of Hrada? Hrada means the lake, not Hrida means heart. Hrada is a lake. Rama Hrada, in those 5 lakes created by who? By Rama. Which Rama? Parashuram, Lord Parashurama. Vidhivat, according to the Vidhi, according to the dharmic procedures. And what did they do as per that? Punar aplutya vrishnayah. So aplutya means to take bath. Punah means again. So first, it means first they took bath before the eclipse, fasted. Now again they took bath. After that, the Vrishnis. Dadah swa annam dvijagrebhyah. So then they gave nice food to the Brahmanas. Dvija means the Brahmanas. And annam, they gave food and other charitable items like the cows decorated with gold and all that. So that is what they are doing to the, or doing this charity to the Brahmanas. Krishne no bhaktir astviti. So that is the most important line, that they said astva iti Krishne no bhakti. Astva iti means that may there be. Krishna no bhakti, in our Krishna. So even though they are the closest relatives, Sambandha. So again, if you remember, we talked about Sambandha. And anyway, so they are the relatives of Sri Krishna. And they are saying, may there be bhakti, or may our minds be absorbed in bhakti towards Sri Krishna. So they are already bhaktas, but they are praying still for bhakti while doing these pious activities according to the procedures, according to the vidhi. So even though they may be very absorbed externally, one should continue to do vidhi or vaidhi bhakti, or do these acts of external acts. And internally, they should always contemplate on remaining fixed devotees. That is the learning here. So the Yadus were demonstrating that quality here of remaining or continuing to remain. They were asking for basically Krishna Bhakti, not only for themselves, for for their families as well. So for themselves and their families. Now this word no has very important meaning. No. In our Krishna. Okay. So, and another point is, and this point is brought out by Sri Jiva Goswami. He mentions in his Tika, or in his commentary, this thing. I'll quote the Sanskrit, and very beautiful. Sadar premastu bhavatat. Sadar, with a lot of adar, adar, with a lot of respect or deep gratitude. Premastu. So this is describing the mood of the Yadus or the Vrishnis, how they were meditating on Sri Krishna with a lot of adar, sadar, adar, premastu bhavatat, with a lot of love and respect for Sri Krishna. Another thing, next line, lalasa swabhavoyam. Lalasa swabhavoyam. Their swabhav was lalasa, for bhakti, greed for bhakti, lalasa. So what is being shown here is that they had respect, love, and most importantly, greed. And the Sanskrit word that is used is lalasa by Sri Jiva Goswami for Sri Krishna. So very nice. I found that very nice. And that's what I wanted to share with you, that the Jiva Goswami is saying this was the mood of the Vrishnis. So it's not like, one should not think that, oh, Vrajavasis are the only ones who have lalasa or greed for Krishna. Vrishnis come close enough, but still Vrajavasis are the absolute highest. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But one should have deep regard for the Vrishnis or the Yadus as well. They were also very great devotees of Sri Krishna. And they also had greed for Sri Krishna, love for Sri Krishna and respect for Sri Krishna. Okay. All right. Can somebody kindly read this translation quickly?
Read, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. In accordance with scriptural injunctions, the descendants of Vrishni then bathed once more in Lord Parshuram's lakes and fed first-class brahmanas with sumptuous food. All the while, they prayed, "May we be granted devotion to Lord Krishna."
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thanks, Mataji. So that's the 10th verse. Kya karen? Should we stop or keep going for some more time? Let's see. Okay, let's do one more. And 12, 13. Let's do 11. And then we can stop. 12, 13 is together, and this will take at least 30 minutes minimum. Beautiful points are there in 12, 13. So we'll cover this tomorrow. I don't want to keep you sitting too long. So 11 and then we can stop. Okay? And I remember I told you 12, 13 and then 14, the what happens in 14 special thing. Who remembers? Let's see who's awake. Something I mentioned. What happens in 14? What's the change that happens from 13 to 14? I remember. Anybody remembers? I told at the beginning of the class.
Bridge words is coming?
No. So the Chanda or the meter changes. Remember I told? And meter changing, one of the reasons, not always, in anywhere in our Shastra, when meter changes, one of the possible reasons for doing that is change of mood, change of bhava. And you will see in 12, 13, we are on 11, but I'm saying 12, 13 will have a very deep discussion on the particular topic. And that is why the mood changes and meter changes after 13 in verse 14. Okay. So 12, 13 will take time. So we'll do 11 and stop. Okay. Last one for today. Swayam chayad anugyata vrishnayah krishna devatah uktva upavishishuh kamam snigdha chaya anghripa angrishu. So then after doing all this fasting, first, so again to recap the sequence, they bathed, they fasted, eclipse was over. Then they again bathed, gave all this charity to the brahmanas, and gave nice prasadam, served very nice prasadam to the brahmanas. And all the time they were meditating on Krishna. They were performing this as an act of bhakti to Sri Krishna. So that's what the Vrishnis were doing all this time. And now after doing all this, now they sit down and have prasadam themselves at the end. Okay, not first you have prasadam, then you feed the guests or give charity. No, our own thing comes last. So swayam cha tad anugyata. Okay. So then anugyata means they took permission also. And who did they take permission from? From Krishna, Devata. Devata means here they are saying who they considered to be their Lord or their permitter. So they consider Krishna to be the overall permitter. So all the time they take the Vrishnayas, the Vrishnis, after taking permission from Sri Krishna, then what did they do? Bhuktva. So bhuktva means to eat. Upavishishu kamam. So then they sat down, Upavishishu sat down and ate prasadam or food, prasad, that was Sri Krishna is there, and so everything is prasadam. Snigdha chaya anghripa angrishu. And anghripa angrishu means at the base of the trees. They sat down in the snigdha chaya, in the cool shade. So in the cool shade of the trees, they rested. As they say, after a hard work or, fasting and this and serving the brahmanas, now they are tired, they had some prasadam, and then now take rest under the cool shade of a tree. What can be better than that, right? So that is what is happening. All right, that's all in this verse, not much. Kindly somebody read the translation. Yes, Meera Mataji, please.
Then with the permission of Lord Krishna, their sole object of worship, the Vrishnis ate breakfast and sat down at their leisure beneath trees that gave cooling shade.
Wonderful. You're not Meera Srinivasan. What can you say your full name?
Meera Sunkara.
Okay, nice to hear your voice. I thought you were Meera, different Meera Mataji. Anyway. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right, so we will cover this tomorrow. Tomorrow's class will be 5 p.m. Pacific time, 1 hour earlier than today because it's a Saturday. Today was a working day, for me at least. So we did at 6 p.m. Pacific time after my work, and then I took, shower and whatever and revised my notes and sat down to do class at 6 o'clock. Tomorrow is Saturday. We can do it 5 p.m. and we'll cover some more nice points from this chapter. So that's today's discussion. Any comments, questions, reflections, anything anybody wants to say? And yeah, and any feedback? Are we going too slow? The purpose, I will tell, is relishment of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not just to narrate a story like a news bulletin. Today this happened, Biden withdrew from the race and Kamala Harris is the new nominee and this and that and done. So that's not the purpose, to convey facts. The purpose is to go deeper and relish. So there will be inherently some more details or some more aspects, but I don't want it to be too slow to be boring or to sap away the interest of the devotees. So if there's any feedback on that, you can send it to me privately as well. But if you want to share anything, any reflections, comments, questions, please.
Prabhuji, one thing, you said that the science was quite advanced, so that everybody not only knew that an eclipse is going to happen, but everybody knew. So communication was also probably very strong. And also there is a mention of aeroplanes in this.
No, that was more, aeroplanes was more like aeroplanes are there. I mean, Lord Ram came. Pushpak Viman. So there are those, but here the mention of aeroplanes was like their chariots were as if they were aeroplanes. So that was more like it is clearly mentioned here that they were not aeroplanes, they were ratha looking like aeroplanes. So there was a clear reference to it's like a resemblance, not a matter of actuality. Okay. But yeah, there were aeroplanes, of course, there are so many references of aeroplanes in Bhagavatam itself. I mean, let alone in other Shastras. Maharaj Chitraketu was in an aeroplane when he saw Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. He was standing in the aeroplane. And so many other references of aeroplanes are there. Dhruv Maharaj went in the aeroplane to heaven or to Vaikuntha. Ajamil went in an aeroplane. He saw the aeroplane descending with the same 4 Vishnu Dutas in Haridwar. And, after his 12 years, after he got the second chance, and he went in that aeroplane back to Viman. We call it aeroplane, but it's Viman to Vaikuntha and so on. So many references are there. Yeah. Yeah. So technology was definitely advanced. Anything else? Any other want?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
I have one question. So, approximately after how many years Krishna is going to meet the Vrajavasis?
Yeah. So there is again not a very clear this one, but Haripashad Prabhu actually sent out a PDF a while back. Let me see if I can find it and display it. But
because you mentioned grandson of Krishna, right? Like, means after it must be after many, many years, like, because when Krishna was young, after that, like.
Yes, many years. Yes. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. It was a very nice PDF that he made from referring various Gaudiya Vaishnava sources. So
once you said 70 years to
Mahamantra. It's in the order of decades. It's not like 5 years, 10 years, but decades. I should be able to find it fairly quickly here. Anyway, anything else in the meantime?
So I have a question, Prabhuji, regarding Parashuram.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, so I found it. Let me see if I can show it. Hold on. Oh. Yeah. I can send this PDF to everyone. Very nice.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Can you see this screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a timeline of Sri Krishna Leela. Very nice one. All right. And let's see what all is there. 6 days from birth, killing of. So that was his first act, or like in the first 6 days, he action. So, and then the residents, Gokul, all these happened in Gokul. So Shaktasur, name-giving ceremony, Namkaran, Trinavat, the tornado, Mother Leela, 3 years. So he was 3 years, 2 months.
Wow. It's very beautiful, Prabhu. Please share this.
Yeah. Then arrival in Sri Vrindavan, he was, they moved from Gokul to Vrindavan. They thought, all the Vrajavasis, this whole thing is mentioned in Bhagavatam, they thought too many demons are coming in Gokul, let's migrate to a more safer place. It was not very safe, but still, Vatsasur, Aghasur, and Brahma Vimohan Leela, Kaliya, Govardhan Leela, 7 years. Nanda Maharaj rescuing from, the Varunas, had abducted Nanda Maharaj, Shankhachura, and then at 10 years and 10 or 11 years, Akrura came and took him away. Then, why did I open? What was your question? Kurukshetra. So it was there here somewhere. Can you see it?
Birth
Prabhuji,
of
45 years.
45 years, Prabhu.
कहाँ पे?
Meeting Yadus and
45.
Vrajavasis at
45, yeah,
Kurukshetra.
meeting
45 years.
Vrajavasis in Kurukshetra, see? So,
Hmm.
45 years. And he says here, yeah, I remember this line, acharyas differ over the exact year in which this took place. This difference, but it is in the order of that, you know. I have heard 45, 50, 70 years also, something like that. Mahabharat Yuddha took place when he was 90 years or 89 years old. Mahabharat war. So yeah, something, yeah. So it happened before the Rajasuya Yagya, that's what we said, right? It kind of like cordial between Pandavas and Kauravas. Yeah, very nice document.
Yeah, it is giving a glimpse of all Leelas. And now it's more easier to relate when he was 3-year-old, when he's 7-year-old. So it's very nice feeling even to think in that way.
Yeah, prepared by Sri Hari Parshad Das Ji. Hari Parshad Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks for sharing.
Jai.
It is, yeah, I will share with you the PDF or something if you remind me. I'm very forgetful.
Sure, Prabhu. I will remind you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Or kuch, anything else?
Prabhuji, I have a question on regarding Parshuram.
Yeah.
So Parshuram was incarnation of Krishna, right?
Yeah.
So like we know about like 5 or 7 immortals, right? So Parshuram is one of them, right? If I'm
You
not.
mean like Chiranjeevis, like Hanuman?
Yes.
Okay.
So if my question is like if Parshuram is Swayam Bhagavan, so he is beyond mortality and immortality, right? So can you please little bit elaborate on that? So why do we say Chiranjeevis?
Okay. Oh, you're asking about the Chiranjeevi, not because why he did the
No, no.
That we discussed to set an example. You're saying Chiranjeevi and he has, I mean, he's Bhagavan, just like, I mean, we all understand Sri Krishna is Bhagavan, but he also had a disappearance Leela. A sort of a, his pastime that causes him to disappear, and that, that hunter shoots the arrow and, then he disappears, and that whole thing is given in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto towards the end, how Sri Krishna disappears. So you are asking Parshuramji, I'm not fully sure whether he is like a Chiranjeevi, considered a Chiranjeevi or not. I'm not familiar with that. I have not, and maybe you are right. What is your question, that why is he Chiranjeevi and other avatars, they come and, disappear?
Go, yeah, kind of that. Yeah, I'm like he is Swang Bhagavan. He's like it should not be a matter of like mortality,
So your question should more be for Sri Krishna. Why is he mortal, or so to say? Why?
Yes.
Parshuramji is kind of displaying if he's Chiranjeeva, or he's Chiranjeevi and he's present on this planet, let us say, that is all the more establishing his greatness as God. So there should be the question should more be about those appearances of the Lord who disappear. Correct? That should be more kind of the nature of your question, as I'm understanding. This is for the sake of the pastimes, and the Lord comes along with his associates, Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam, dharma samsthapanarthaya. These are the 3 purposes of his appearance: to give pleasure and happiness to his devotees, to kill the troublemakers, vinashaya cha dushkritam, and to re-establish the principles of dharma sansthapanarthaya. And there are devotees who are, for the devotees, he is always present in their hearts. And the Lord is always present in some universe or the other at all times. So the Lord appears and disappears, and also it creates a mood that, yes, the devotees want to see the Lord. If he's there all the time, then, we'll become too familiar with the Lord. So we need.
No, but we can't see him or with our material eyes, right?
No, but when
He is
Krishna was there,
Bhagavan.
everybody could see him. Even Duryodhan saw him. Even Kamsa
Yeah,
saw
but he couldn't understand.
understanding it. So what is your question then? Are you trying, what are you asking? Why did Krishna disappear, or why can't we understand? If Krishna came in front of our eyes, will we really, have love for him? What really is your question?
So no, my question was like the how do I don't know how to frame it in a question, maybe because I was thinking like if Chiranjeevi when comes, it's like for someone who is appear and disappears maybe with blood and flesh, but Bhagavan is not like with blood and flesh, right? So he is his body is transcendental. So how we can say he's Chiranjeevi? He's always Chiranjeevi, right? So I mean he's immortal. So why do we call Parashuram as one of the Chiranjeevi? He's anyway Chiranjeevi. So that's why I got confused.
Think about it, and I'll respond to this after some thinking.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Okay. Thank you so much for tolerating me. It was a long session, but yeah, if you have any feedback, I'll be very interested. If not, we'll meet tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you so much. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you,
Prabhuji,
Mataji.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.